All right, Mariama, once again, welcome.
Thank you very much. It feels good to be back, actually.
It's been almost 2 years, and even though I know the journey and the story behind Simply Green, I want you to let our viewers know how you moved from an idea stage to now a business that has been running for years now.
The Simply Green story happens to be my own personal health journey. My body started experiencing what is known as autoimmune condition. This is when your own immune system gets confused, and instead of protecting you, it's rather start attacking your healthy organs. So most people who get this diagnosis often have health challenges. They wake up with kidney issues, liver issues, everybody's symptom is different. So that was where I found myself 5 years ago. And I started experimenting with food, and I discovered a beautiful love story between the food we put into our bodies and the love language it speaks to our body as well. So once I found healing through food, I registered the company, and we are totally devoted to spreading holistic wellness, gentle healing with food with most of our clients.
So it worked for you, and then it became a business. How has that business journey itself been so far?
It's been one of learning. It's been quite a learning experience. When I started, it was very manual. It was quite experimental. We had to put in the right structures to go from the ideation stage to the actual operational stage. So it's been quite a learning journey where you learn that every stage is different, and you give yourself the grace to grow through the processes. Yeah, even working with our clients, every individual is different. So if I work with client A, the processes are quite different. Even the healing begins at different stages. If I work with client B, their health journey becomes different from that of client A. So it's been quite a humbling learning experience where you get to learn a lot about nature, food, nutrients, the human part, how it receives food, how the nutrients go through some form of chemical reactions to initiate or on the light of the healing ability of the human body, and the person living in the body start telling you about how they are experiencing the healing themselves. So it's been quite a humbling experience and quite a learning one.
I know gone through processes, applying for grants, and what the stress that comes from the application process, even when a grant reported and all of that. For a business that is here in Ghana, starting looking for that they could get some grants or get other people investing in their business, what structures would you say you put in place at that early stage for you to be able to navigate some of these corners?
Well, I think every business starts with a focus point. So if you have an idea, how do you make it authentic or realistic? That should be the word. And in every business space, for you to be authentic, it has to go through the registration process. So we had to register the name at the registrar's department, and then it starts with finding a logo that speaks for the business, and then it starts with creating the products that the customers will be interested in, authenticating the product so that the clients find integrity with your brand. So the processes and the stages come as and when, and they also determine your growth, your sustainability, and your continuity. So we went through the registration process, we went through creating the products, and then we started selling to our customers. And we've also invested in consistency of service and product. So these are the stages that we've had the opportunity to exit business.
All right. Whilst we stay on the grant bit and then getting other people to get into the business, how big was bookkeeping or record keeping in navigating these stages?
Record keeping should start from the word go. Because if you want to speak to anybody about the viability of your business, people don't like to throw money away because money is hard to come by. So if you're telling people about this beautiful idea, Simply Green, food, holistic healing, people want to see how your books look like. So the equipment you've invested in, the raw materials you're bringing in for production, packaging material, paying staff, doing labels. So from the onset, we invested in bookkeeping. And when you're starting off, it doesn't look beautiful. It won't look like you have a structure. It can be just a notebook where by close of day, you are able to record your expenses, and then you are able to record your revenue. So in the grant space, mostly the forms and the due diligence you will go through, record keeping is on top. A lot of the opportunities I've had, after you are even being selected, delegations will be sent to your facility to look at your processes, and the key element they look out for before they even give you the investment or support is to see how you're doing financially. Your business makes sense or it stands the chance to make it.
I like that. And I asked the question on bookkeeping because I've had a chance to engage other business owners, and I tell them that now I would go in for keeping the best record compared to getting registered right from scratch. So whilst formalization is good and all that, we formalize and still don't, and the people have registered their businesses and they don't have a business account. Some of the business accounts, the money doesn't even go into the account before it leaves to buy whatever raw material they need to. So for me, I'm not against formalization, but I think that for whatever you intend to do, be big on bookkeeping. It's like you said, it could just be a notebook, your phone, or any app that could help you in keeping that record. And when the time comes, because for me, when I was looking for investors to scale up, both times it was a record that spoke for us. And you get to the point where if you don't have registration, you can always get registered. But if you don't have the records, trust me, it will be difficult to go back and find those records. Sometimes you don't even remember that you spent money on these things.
Exactly.
For your products being in this space where everybody is pushing wellness, good health, everybody seems to be promoting something that is for good health and for wellness. How have you distinguished yourself from other products?
It's been the fact that I'm a living example of my product. Has benefited from moving from being diagnosed with a chronic health condition to and also from a place of being debilitated to coming back to enjoying my life. There are a lot of health and wellness brands, but our ability to be able to work with our clients with zero medication, rather focusing on other lifestyle changes and holistic wellness approaches and just the food to support our clients.
You talk about wellness and then clients who have regained their health and all that. And I'm wondering who your core clients are, because I mean, I have had your juices. I've tried it, some of them, and I like them. I didn't take them for health purposes, and even I'm looking for them. So I'm looking at who are you really focusing on? Kind of someone like me who just wants to enjoy good juice, go get it, or is I need to have a condition to go grab that juice?
So I think the prime or the core vision of Simply Green is to support people living with chronic health conditions to find the wellness they deserve through the food they consume. So our clients are people managing health conditions like autoimmune, people who are battling cancer and are on chemotherapy. You find that their bodies are not in a good place to even give them the chance to fight these conditions as they go through the medical treatment. So we offer them good nutrition that helps their cells to rejuvenate from the cellular level, to give their immune system the strength it needs to weather that storm. So our prime focus are for people who are living with chronic health conditions. So people who are diagnosed with stroke, people who are having high cholesterol, high BP, autoimmune cases, cancer, and are looking to heal. But then we also make room for people who are looking to eat healthy to prevent these conditions from having access to their bodies. So our juices, we have the detox pathway juices, we have the nutrient dense juices for people who need the nutrients the most, and then we have the refreshing and rejuvenating juices for people who are looking forward to make lifestyle changes and switch from fizzy drinks to natural oxidants that fuel their body the natural way.
All right. So then I still qualify to go to any shop and grab your juice.
Yes.
Then with pricing, I mean, we barely spoken about price, but I know that it's a key factor, and I'm to position this because you've been doing this for long, and the fact that it's still ongoing means that you have a price that the customer is willing to pay. How have you managed this? Because we do fruit juice. I mean, when we produce, there are days you go for the pineapple, it's not as sweet as you want, and you can't even use it. And if you don't produce a seasonal, there are things that you don't get every time. So how are you able to manage these things, knowing that price is a key factor to most consumers?
As a startup, we invest in having sustainable suppliers who understand our vision. So we don't just buy from them. And then we do have a staff who also work with the core vision of the business as a health and wellness brand. So talking about sustaining the raw materials, our suppliers understand that these are the type of fruits that we work with. It has to be ripe. We get the opportunity to educate them on minimal use on fertilizers, and then we also educate them some of the impacts of these chemicals to our clients. So even when fruits are out of season, like my mango suppliers, is just a phone call away. Oh, Mariama, mangoes are out of season. Maybe next month we are not harvesting, but this month there are a lot of mangoes available for you. So we peel them, we store them. When it's out of season, we are able to use them. So that's the relationship we have with most of our suppliers, and it's been quite helpful as a startup.
That's great. With the way you operate, and I know that you've taken on another task, operate. And having been in the space where I'm focusing my dissertation on employee fraud and all the challenges that comes with having employees, especially when you're not around to keep an eye on how things are doing. How have you managed this? I mean, it's been over how many years since you've been running a business, and a key factor in this economy and in the on the continent is employment, employees, and the people you work with. Not to say everybody is bad, but you need to have a system in place to be able to work from afar and make sure your business is running the way it should run.
I think what has helped me is to keep a network of minds, like minds, where I'm able to learn from other colleagues. And I also learn within my own operations as well. So yeah, able to put in structures that helps the process of employing people and the processes of also letting them go. So from the word go, you allow your employees to understand the core vision of the business. We stand for good health and wellness. If you get staff, you allow them to go through the screening process where you are able to get into their minds a little to understand what they know about the business. And then you also invest in training. So the first thing you give an employee is to let them understand what you do. And then when you audit them, you take them through the processes. So for every business, I think the 4 Ps is what I work with: the
Okay.
processes, the price, the product, the people.
Okay.
Yeah. So you let them understand the processes, which is a big thing. Yeah. And those who are not able to keep up, when you sit them with them on their review, you are able to educate for the open mindset, which is able to learn and expand and grow. For the closed mindset that becomes difficult to work with, you let them go peacefully.
You know, the challenge with fraud happening in SMEs, especially even in the financial sector, is that people are not able to. You can't say that these things are happening within your business, because then people look at you in a certain way. Even the banks, when they experience fraud, they're not able to talk about it. But there comes a time where you balance trust, control, and how you build your team. How have you been able to do these things where you've built that trust? You know that, yeah, even in my absence.
I think if I say I've not had my own fair share of the headaches that comes with it, I am not being realistic at all. There were instances where I discovered that an employee is not meeting her target. So then I went back to the approach of retraining, and it even becomes difficult to get this person to even sit with you at a table where you're able to listen to what their challenges are and you make room for retraining. It is difficult. It is very difficult. But then we had to let such a person go. And the issue of products are not accounted for, or a product getting to the customer through the third party delivery services, there's a gap in between, or products that needs to be stored at our vendor points are not matching our records, where we would have to bring these stuff to account. Yeah. As I said, those that are willing to learn and grow with you, you invest energy in keeping, and those that are not working according to the vision, you also let them go.
I've had my own share of of what you just described, so we'll leave that for another day. What has been your biggest cash flow challenge? I mean, sometimes I say that for a business, cash flow is the energy that drives us. And when money keeps coming in, you know that there are times where it's seasonal. So there are months where, for example, now that we are getting into the Ramadan season, I can tell you for sure that in the restaurant space, your revenue is going to go down, especially for those of us who are in the food space. And these things are seasonal. But what other bottlenecks have you come across aside the seasonalities?
With my business model, we do get clients who are coming in for a period of time. So someone has a severe health condition,
Okay.
and because what we do is quite different from what's on the market regarding food, ours is basically wellness. So a client is getting in touch because their cholesterol is high,
Okay.
and then we are able to provide more hair, detox juices, teas, diet plan next 4 weeks. Once we get the healing that the clients deserve, we've served our purpose. So ours is basically results oriented.
Okay.
Yeah. So once we are done with the client, we move on to the next client. So it's not like the normal food space where we share in the challenges. Ours is
Okay. And getting the results means that money is coming in.
I'm smiling to that.
All right. In this journey where now you are looking at putting coolers or fridges at different locations, and then you're doing numbers weekly and all that, how do you see the business in the next 2-3 years? I mean, you've tried it at one location, you've seen what the numbers look like, and if you're able to do that in multiple places, you know what the numbers will look like. How does that look like for you? How does the future look like for you?
One beautiful thing about is healthy side of things. So when I even experimented this idea, it's a fast food joint where a young man sells close to 300 packs of fast food a day. So we had a collaboration where I stocked some of my healthy juices, and we started with 15 bottles a day sales, and every day I will ask for feedback, questions, and looking at the numbers. But I was focused on what our core vision is: good health and wellness. So Mariama, I think senka the sugar kakra fema. Emano mwenum. So if you are able to add a bit of sugar to boost the taste up. And then I said, okay, thank you very much for the feedback, Nanayao. And we stocked again. Maybe we sold 10. And he's looking at sugar or more Quebeco fast pow. Then one day I asked, how was the sales today? He said, an elderly man showed up today. And he said, oh, are you sure? Natural cold pressed natural juices. He said, yes, I don't make them. A lady brings them to me. He drank one bottle. He said, wow, I've been looking for something like this where it is authentic. It hasn't been tampered with. You're tasting orange. It has not been mixed with water. And he took another bottle and bought 5 bottles away. And this elderly man comes back to the fast food joint, not to buy food, but to buy juice. That's how we grew the numbers. And it's quite encouraging that the young people buying the meals, it's a good place to grow, and we are looking forward to creating more avenues where our customers wouldn't have to struggle. Just a walk away to a vendor and you're able to pick your favorite bottle of juice from Simply Green.
No, what you just described talks about partnerships, and this juice company, kind of remember the one in Sawam.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky. So yes, so they bring. I remember they'll bring you stock and pick them up if you're able to sell them. And I see you scaling up to something at that level where you're able to distribute to different vendors. But the partnership approach for me seems to be like the place to start for me. That's what you're doing. What has worked? What has kept our partnership together?
I think the fear of things going south is what comes to mind first. And then a lot of people checking out on it, especially in our Ghanaian space. And most people like to do things and close because they think the support is not out there. So I walk by the street and I see a young man who has a fried rice. He's called Frankie's. And then I have one staff who patronized him, and I looked at his business model. I gave him a call and I said, "You have an amazing product. You have a very good business model, but I would like to sit with you as somebody who is experienced in that space." So mostly partnership, investment, collaborations is not all about money. Sometimes it can be support. Sometimes it can be just a conversation. So I sat down with him and I said, "You are involved in the cooking. You're the same person serving your customers. I see you struggle. You easily get tired. Stay back. Get two people in front who will serve. Focus on the environment, how clean it is. And let's start dividing your target into quarterly every year. So every 3 months, you focus on staff training. The next 3 months, you perfect your product. Let's look at the price and solidify this space by end of 2005. I think you have an amazing business opportunity. You can have so that collaboration with him started.
Okay.
And once he stayed back, he became more engaged in customer service. I saw him improve the space. I saw him bring cameras to monitor staff. I saw him started having conversations about opening a new branch, and he's growing. And I offered business coaching without charging him, and he placed value on that. So I sent my juices, my fridge is there. Let's discuss electricity. He said no. Let's discuss commission. He says no. He sells my juices weekly and put the money in my account, even when I'm out of town. And then he will call me and give me customer feedback. "Oh, this customer said this about this juice." He's no longer talking about mixing with sugar. He no longer tells the customers, "Oh, there's some juice here." They themselves come to buy. So most partnership, we are scared to open up to people, but if we are to look at the opportunities that lies beyond our fears, then we can grow with other people and make room for more growth for others as well.
I like that. I like the way the partnership started. If you're running a social media campaign and they see you grow, they can easily measure it. If you're helping them to do bookkeeping, structures, and all that, you can easily measure it, and they never forget you. And that solidifies what I've been saying. I know you were the first batch of UDS students who did IBS, right? But I'm asking, what skill did you underestimate before starting to run your own business? I said, I didn't think that I'll be doing this, but now it looks far.
Well, I think I was at some point in my mind, even on campus when I go for lectures, I knew that I would end up doing something for my own self because of the environment I grew up from. That language of going and coming and management and being given a task. I was managing the maize for my grandma, send it to the mill house. I have gone to a shop to sell a few times. So those I started picking the business language quite early. I think my ability to communicate and create relationships with people,
Okay.
how I'm able to interact and sell is something that I didn't think would help my business. But I think my impact has really helped my business a lot. Most times when we are working with clients, it's not just about simply green, it goes beyond simply green. There are have to speak to someone in the family to explain whatever condition their family member is going through, to get them to rally around what the care and the diagnosis is. So my ability to communicate has played an impactful role
Right.
in who I am as an entrepreneur and a leader to my team as well.
Like that. And I know the communication part too. The one hard truth that you would say most entrepreneurs don't talk about. I know we spoke about fraud, talk about the challenges that we deal with, but and I say this in the NGO space. Even in the NGO space, we are scared about talking about challenges on projects because then you're going to look bad before the donor. It's as if you can't do your work. And then in the entrepreneurship space, some people maybe I have a poultry farm, I have a whole, but there are things that we go through. See, there are sleepless nights that for me, there are days that payday bar. Then you feel it, like you know the money, the revenue can't pay for whatever the stuff, but you know that it's your responsibility to pay. When GRA calls you, you know that it's. What are some of the things that you say that it's these are hard talks that we don't often talk about?
As an entrepreneur, most times when you're starting off, you're carrying everything on your shoulders. As we talked about bookkeeping, you can't hire an accountant from the word go. You can't hire an HR that will take the burden of staff off your shoulder. You don't even have the capital to even engage your suppliers. So our mental health and our emotional well-being, and in the era of social media where everything looks beautiful, like we've done the setup, there's the light, we are all glowing, we're sharing our stories, we don't talk about behind the scenes. As I think is something that we don't talk about, but I try to make to create an environment where I'm able to be vulnerable and belong to a network of other entrepreneurs. There are times when we sit around a bowl of fufu, like a few entrepreneurs. We do meet at events. We do talk about the raw truth, the raw truth of how our lives are behind the scenes. So I think as entrepreneurs, most challenge that we wake up with every day is processes that we go through during navigating through our own journeys and stories. A lot of people are breaking up. So mostly when I get in touch with fellow entrepreneurs, I like to let them feel that they have a safe space where we talk about things. The male gender is not on top of expressing emotions. So I had to get it out of him. He said, I am struggling. And I said, thank you for letting me know about it. And this is how we go. First, nutrition. I sent him some detox teas. This is how you start your morning, and then see a doctor and offload. Offload means cut out the phone calls, look into your expenditure, and then started taking him through appreciating the journey itself.
You've hit the nail on the head. And being in this space, I say that there are mistakes we do as entrepreneurs, and sometimes we wish if I had known. But again, if you hadn't made those mistakes, you wouldn't be calling them mistakes, and you didn't even know that they would have ended up being mistakes. And you turn a corner, and for some reason you know that this will not work because I've tried it before, and I'm telling you out of experience. And in my own, while we're talking, I think I mentioned that if you ask me to invest in the food business now, I can tell you that I won't try running a restaurant, let alone want to run a lounge and all that, because the stress that came with it and the pressure that came with it was just too much. What are some of the mistakes, or at least one mistake that you think that you wish you had avoided at an early stage when you started Simply Green?
Well, I think with Simply Green, when I started off, I was so sure about that journey. Um, and I didn't have any look back moment. But before Simply Green, I had another catering services where I was doing just the regular food on the market. Yeah. With that one, I think I had just resigned from my corporate work and everybody was worried. So the energy was prove a point. Had to let everybody know that I'm going to be okay. I will still be able to keep up with my rent. I will still be able to keep going. So the stress of trying to live up to the expectations of others, we're doing weddings, parties, engagement events. But when I shifted into health and wellness, at that point, I had made all the mistakes. I had fallen and I think lost a few tooth. So the wisdom was there.
Yeah. There's always something to learn. And I also believe that when you work for a startup, the experience is different. When you establish business, the experience is different. And when you are the one building a startup, the experience for you is different. And I've been an employer, so I'll say that I've been at now. I'll say I'm an employer. I'm an employee. When you run a business yourself, it's different. When you have the idea, put it in place, you have other people running it, it's also different. But one thing is, it all comes with some level of, well, I call it stress. It requires you putting in time and energy. And having to combine that with school for me, I would say that it hasn't been easy. At the point I was combining that with doing a master's, doing a PhD, having a job, being an employer, being an employee and all that. And how are you doing it? How are you doing it? Managing and being able to even encourage other people to hold on and keep pushing.
Well, I think what has kept me going, even with Simply Green, I think there are times when you feel like, what is the result I get from customers and the referrals that come in?
Yeah.
And mostly when I'm at that stage where I'm questioning things, that's when the calls come. Mariama, I'm diagnosed with this, and somebody told me you can help. Yeah. So those phone calls and the results that we get with our clients is the light that keeps me going, is what gives me balance. And I think my staff, a few of them too. There's one person each month when she sees her alert, you get a text message from her saying thank you. So that becomes a motivation, because at times when you've paid them and you haven't even paid yourself, yeah. So her text message, Ruth, she always sends a message to say, Madam, thank you very much. And there are times when I look out for opportunities to reward them for taking up roles and doing well. I give them airtime bonuses, motivational allowances. I put these small things to keep them going. They come back to say thank you. So these are the proud moments, I think. We take solace in those ones when we are going down.
I was telling Doc earlier that while we were in school, yeah, you carried yourself so well that it's. Yeah. But what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, My younger self, Mariama. I think growing up, I was quite a very sensitive child. I knew there was somewhere at the back of my mind that I had potential, but the environment didn't provide me with the tools probably I would have needed to nurture those potentials. And I carried this feeling of not matching up with me growing up. So if there's anything I'll tell my younger self, I think I'll tell her that it's just a matter of time. She should just chill and be. Time and the stages evolve themselves, and she doesn't need to stress. She should not be afraid to think the way she thought. She should not be apologetic of how beautiful she is or who she is to become. These things I'll tell my younger self. And I think I would love her more than I did.
A friend stopped by my office yesterday, and we grew up in the same neighborhood. And between the two of us, me and my side, so he went to a preparatory school. But in any school, we all went to schools that way. And our kids happened to be in the same school. So we were just talking about school fees. And he goes like, we never thought that we'll even be having kids at that age while we're in JSS and then be paying the kind of fees that we are paying now. I look back and I didn't see any of these things coming. And I can tell you that all I wanted to do when I was in JSS was to join the army, buy a Golf, and have
the blue Golf,
yeah.
Those days.
Be in the army, have a Golf. And I specifically wanted to be an Air Force officer because the person that I was looking up to was in the Air Force. When he comes back from a trip, his friends will come, they slaughter a pig and they have this party and then they go. And all I wanted to do was to own a pig farm so that I don't have to go buy the pigs when it's time for us to party. And I remember writing this essay, I think JSS 1. And I was older than my classmates in JSS 1. So I remember that essay very well. And it hasn't happened. Have I owned a pig farm? I've owned a pig farm. I've seen what the challenges that come with owning a pig farm. Do I regret not joining the army? No. At a point, I resented seeing even the military on TV because I thought I was born to be in the army. Right from UDS, I wanted to join the army. But there was also this business side of me where right from class 5, I'll leave school and I own a bike. I'll go and hire the bike, take money, miss class. I would sell stuff, work for people and take money. And so I look back and I tell myself that, I didn't join the army, but that's why I am. And the thing that convinced me most was when the person was supposed to help me join the army saw me and said he was proud of the gentleman I had become. That was like 5-6 years ago. And I wasn't close to being the things that I'm doing now. So our exposure, the things we see, the people we grow around, kinds of shapes who we think we want to become and who we think that we should be, the perfect people that we think we should be. So if there's anything that I would do for my young self, I'll say that it's exposure. Yeah, I think that is exposure, and I don't want to miss that chance. Sometimes watch a short video, sometimes just listen to somebody share their experience, and it all builds up that exposure because in Kabina me so JD. And that probably will be all it will be because I may not have the time to do all the things I do, even though I had plans to retire early, have my own business on the side, but I am happy that I didn't join the army and it's turned out the way it is. But I wish that I had a lot more exposure than I did when I was making all these decisions. I have a quick question for you. Few questions that I want you to run. One business decision that you're proud of. One business decision that quitting your job to start your own thing.
I think registering the name Simply Green, because it stands for a lot of things, and in the next 5 years it it will leave its name as a holistic brand that really fix people from inside out. So choosing the name Simply Green and registering it and building it to tell these stories is one of the things I'm so proud about. I wasn't well, my brain and my nervous system weren't communicating. I didn't have a lot of impactful voices around me. So it came out of pain, and it's been nurtured to be a blessing that stands on its own. So Simply Green is my most proud business decision.
I like the name, and when I teach, I tell people that if you're registering a business, don't go add what you do to the name of the business, because then it becomes very difficult to switch into something else. You have to register a new business almost every time. So I like the name.
Thank you.
Yeah. One mistake that taught you the most.
Trusting
Much.
people. Trusting people. I think my nature is very welcoming and trusting. So mostly when I find myself in an environment, I tend to think that everybody is like me, so I should feel safe. But over the years, it has taught me to really mirror people, get to know people before you dish a spoon of your trust to them. So trusting people.
One tool or idea that you feel that you can't run your business without.
I think human resource. I couldn't tell the story if I didn't have people who were willing to work with me, to wake up every day and come and do what we do for our clients. Yeah. Anyone looking to start should have information. You should spend time to know the industry you're going into. If it's possible, get mentorship. Find somebody who is already on that path, and then get some roadmap towards the path that you are trying to carve for yourself, and have enough in-depth knowledge. If you get the opportunity, create a good network. It's worth having.
All right. How does the next 12 months look like for Simply Good?
The next 12 months.
24 months, 12 months. I mean, ideas you spoke about whilst were there. I love them.
We are hoping to be this beautiful health valley where you travel into greenery, to a place where you can hear the birds sing on trees, a room where you leave your phone and all of your stress, a table that you sit with people who welcome and accept you over a meal, a massage therapy space, a safe space where you can offload both your physical and your emotional and mental burdens, and then leave that space feeling rejuvenated because you've encountered nature, you've eaten organic from the soil, you've drank natural juices and had fruits that have no chemicals on them, where you are able to walk out and feel a different version of you than the one that came into the Simply Green Healing Village. So in the next 12 months, that is what we'll be working towards.
All right. All right. I wish you all the best. I know that it's possible. It is possible. I'm not campaigning for anybody, but I'm really rooting for you. I know that it's doable. It's good to have the dream, have the vision, and work towards it. And having seen you and what you've done this past years, I know that it's really achievable. Thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to interviewing you again in the next 2 years.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.